Hi everyone, it's Jennifer from Fiberflux. In this video, I'm going to show you how to crochet this beautiful Heathered Eyelets Wrap. This is a really pretty shawl that is easy to make, and the self-striping yarn that I used makes for a really interesting piece and a lot of variety of color and tones. It is worked in just some really simple double crochet stitches, and then we've created some eyelets by working chains and skipping stitches to make these really pretty eyelets all along. So let's get started. The finished shawl has a measurement of 14 inches wide and approximately 48 inches long. However, you could make your wrap longer or shorter simply by working more rows of this 2-row repeat. For this project, you'll need a 6.5 millimeter K crochet hook. You'll need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle to weave in your ends, and as an option, it might be helpful to have a tape measure or ruler to get the length you'd like for your wrap. The yarn that I will be using for this project is called Zebrino by Adriafil. And I just did a Yarn 101 on this, and I'll link up if you'd like more information about this particular yarn. However, if you need to substitute yarn, just look for something that recommends a 6.5 millimeter K crochet hook. And if you're really unsure, you could always work up a row or two of the pattern and just see if it looks the way you'd like with the stitch definition and things like that. So each one of these balls of yarn is 125 meters, and that, if you use the standard system, that's about 136.7 yards of this each one. So just as I used every last bit of the 3 balls of yarn to make this one over here as well. So you'll need 3 full balls of this yarn, or each one is 125 meters if you need to find some other yarn. So let's get started. To begin our wrap, we're going to put a slip knot on our hook. So to make a slip knot, take the yarn, wrap it around your fingers to make a loop, bring the yarn behind the loop, reach in with your hook, and bring up a loop. Now we're using a fairly large crochet hook, so this works up pretty quickly. Next, we need a starting chain of 48 for our wrap, okay? So to make a chain, wrap yarn around hook and bring it through the loop. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the loop. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, and 48. Okay, so your starting chain looks kind of like this. Just as a side note, if you want your chain to be fairly loose. If your chain is feeling a little bit tight, or you don't have these nice open loops to work the stitches into, try switching, just for the starting chain, try switching to 1 or 2 hook sizes up, a larger hook size, and just make your starting chain, and then when you're ready to begin work on row 1, switch back to the 6.5 millimeter hook, just as a side note. If you can chain loose, that's great too. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let me get some more yarn here, and as you can see, this is pretty self-striping, so it's going to change colors on us and make for a really interesting project. However, this also, I made a little swatch with a solid color just to see, and it looks equally pretty in a solid. So if you have a solid that you're working with, I'm sure it would look lovely with, a solid. I used kind of like a taupe color, and it was really pretty. Okay, so what we're going to do is, this loop here does not count. We're going to count the 4th chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this chain right here, we're going to work a double crochet. Wrap yarn around hook, insert it into the chain, bring up a loop, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops on the hook, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the last 2 loops on the hook. So what we're going to do is, each remaining chain that we have on here, we're going to work a double crochet each chain all the way across. And that's going to set up a nice foundation for these little eyelets we're going to be doing in the next row. Okay, so just work double crochets all the way across to the end. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep doing that. And then we'll rejoin towards the end of this row, and I'll show you how to finish off this row and then transition onto the next row. And the next row will be really fun because we'll be adding these eyelets, and they're super easy to make. Okay? Okay, so I'm just coming up to the end of row 1, putting a double crochet in that very last chain. So as you can see, the colors have changed a couple of times, and we're getting some different colors already. Okay, so let's move on to row 2. So for row 2, what we're going to do is chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to turn our work. Okay, so this chain 3 counted as a double crochet. So we're not going to work anything into that first stitch, but this next one here, we're going to work a double crochet into that stitch. And then what we're going to do is chain 2. 1, 2. We're creating our first eyelet. Then we're going to skip 2 stitches. So 1, 2, and in the stitch after that, we're going to work a double crochet. I'm just going to pause for a moment, pull my hook out, and just show you that creates that decorative hole that creates the eyelet. Okay? So then what you're going to do is work a double crochet in the next stitch. Just like that. Then we're ready for our next eyelet. We're just going to be doing this all the way across. So chain 2, skip 2 stitches. In the stitch after that, work a double crochet. Work a double crochet in the next stitch. So if we look at it, there's 2 stitches that we skipped, 2 double crochets that we worked, 2 that we skipped, 2 that we worked. Just to that helped me keep track of everything while I was working on mine. So just keep going. Chain 2, skip 2 stitches. In the stitch after that, work a double crochet. Work a double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 2, 1, 2, skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, in the stitch after that, work a double crochet. Let me get got a yarn tail here from my other project that got tangled in there. Okay, so we worked there a double crochet, so work another double crochet. Okay, we're working on creating the next eyelet. So chain 2, skip 2 stitches, in the stitch after that, work a double crochet. Okay, let's get some more yarn. And we'll work a double crochet. Okay, so we're just going to keep making eyelets. So just chain 2, skip 2, in the stitch after that, work a double crochet. Work a double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 2, 1, 2, let's get some more yarn. Skip 2, in the stitch after that, work a double crochet. Work a double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 2, skip 2, work a double crochet in the next one. Work a double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 2, 1, 2, skip 2 stitches, in the stitch after that, work a double crochet. Work a double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 2, 1, 2, skip 2 stitches. Now we're here at the end, so we're just going to treat it the same way. Skip 2 stitches, in the stitch after that, work a double crochet. And then in this last, this is the turning chain from the previous row, just work a double crochet in the top chain of that turning chain. Okay? So row 2 is complete, and you can see all these really lovely little eyelets that we're creating. So let's move on to row 3. So to work row 3, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then turn. Now this row will look very similar to the row that we did before the eyelet row. It's going to be a solid line of double crochets. but we need to work our stitches into stitches and spaces in this row, and I'm going to show you. Okay, so this chain 3 counted as our double crochet, so this first little stitch that you see counts as our first double crochet. So in this next stitch we're going to work a double crochet into the stitch. Now we've come to an eyelet. We're going to work 2 double crochets into that eyelet, that chain 2 space from the previous row, right into the space, just like that, okay? Then we're going to work a double crochet in the next stitch. Just get a little bit more yarn here. And a double crochet into the stitch after that. And we've arrived at another eyelet. So work 2 double crochets into that chain 2 space, as it's referred in the pattern, or the eyelet, whatever you want to call it. Okay, next work 1 double crochet in this first stitch. There'll be 2 here, so work a double crochet into the next stitch as well. Okay, so we're just working double crochets all the way across, but it just depends on what you're working them into that matters. Okay, so we're at an eyelet, so I'm working 2 double crochets into that eyelet, double crochet in the next stitch, whoops, double crochet into the next stitch after that, and 2 double crochets into that chain 2 space, that next eyelet that we're coming to. Okay, then we're going to work a double crochet into the next stitch that we come to, double crochet into that next stitch. So you're just working in pairs basically. Work, when you come to these, you work them in the stitches. When you come to these, you work them in the spaces. Okay, just pairs of double crochets that you're working here. So I'm working 2 double crochets into the next chain 2 space, that eyelet, a double crochet in the next stitch. I think once you work a few rows of this, it's pretty easy to memorize. You can kind of put everything away and just have your yarn and hook, which I think is a really relaxing way to crochet. So you can just memorize this pretty easily. Okay, so I'm just working double crochets into the stitches here, the 2 stitches. Then we're at another eyelet, so I'm just working 2 double crochets into that chain 2 space. Okay, now let's see what we have so far. It looks very pretty. It's kind of framing those eyelets in, okay? So work a double crochet into the next stitch. Work a double crochet into the stitch after that. Work 2 double crochets into that chain 2 space. Work a double crochet into the stitch, the next stitch you come to, and then the stitch after that, work a double crochet. We're just repeating this all the way across. Pretty easy, but it produces very pretty results. Okay, double crochet into the next stitch, double crochet into the stitch after that, double crochet into the chain 2 space, put another double crochet into that chain 2 space, double crochet into the next stitch, double crochet in a stitch after that. We're almost done. We're almost to the end of this row. As you can see, even though this is a wide shawl, as opposed to a scarf, for example, it goes pretty quickly because you're using this larger K hook, but you're also skipping stitches and working double crochets, which are pretty tall when you're working with chunkier yarn and a larger hook. Okay, so we've come to the end of the row, and what we're going to do to finish off this row is we have a stitch here. We'll work a double crochet into that stitch, and then we have our turning chain from the previous row. Just come up to the top, that topmost chain, and work a double crochet right into that top chain of your turning chain, and that will finish off the row. So to finish our wrap, this is all you need to know to make the entire wrap. So to finish the wrap, we're just going to be repeating rows 2, this eyelet row, and rows 3, this solid row up top here. So just repeat rows 2 and 3, 2 and 3, 2 and 3, over and over and over until the shawl is about 48 inches long, which is how long mine ended up being. That's when I was kind of running out of yarn, and it seemed like a really nice length. Or you can make yours a little bit shorter and just have a shorter wrap, or you can make yours very, very long. It's totally up to you. You just keep repeating rows 2 and 3, 2 and 3. And one more thing, you want to end as far as you go. When you want to stop your shawl, you'll want to end on row 3, this solid row, because what it's going to do is it's going to mimic this first row and match. And I'll show you what I mean in a few minutes. When we've worked the entire shawl, I'll show you how that's going to look as opposed to ending on the eyelet row. It just looks more finished and it kind of frames everything in very nicely. Okay, so just keep repeating rows 2 and 3, 2 and 3, 2 and 3 until your shawl is the desired length. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep working my shawl, and then we'll rejoin in just a moment and I'll show you how to finish everything off. Okay, so I'm just working that very last double crochet in that very last stitch to finish the shawl. And as I mentioned before, you'll want to end on row 3 just so it gives a nice finished edge. Let me just rip these back a little ways. If you were to end on this row instead, see how it just has like this chain at the top? This gives it a nice finished look across the top. And if we go to the other end of our shawl, let me just pull that up for you. You can see that we've begun that way too. So if we look at our ends, especially if you're wearing around the neck, those ends are going to be side by side. It looks similar, okay? So once you're finished, now I just pulled a couple of these apart, so let me just put them back in. Once you're finished, if you'd like to, this has a little bit of wool in it. It's a wool acrylic blend. So blocking is totally optional. You can block your piece with either spray bottle or you can soak it in a wash. It's totally up to you. But when you're finished, all you really have to do is weave in the ends. Okay, so what we're going to do is just cut the yarn. I went back and put those stitches in, and then we'll just fasten off. Just like that. Get your knot nice and secure. And then you can just take your tapestry needle, and if you need to trim it a little bit, I need to trim mine again. Just twist it and get it through that eye. Just like that, just go ahead and thread it right in there. So once your needle is threaded, because I used a self-striping yarn, this is kind of the plum color. You'll want to keep that in this plum section. Just try not to weave it into all these other colors because it'll kind of stand out. So what we're going to do is go in one direction, very carefully, just like this. And then I'm just going to come back in the other direction. That will hopefully lock this little tail in place. Just gives a little added security there. Okay, so then you can just take your scissors and trim. Okay, just like that. So I have a couple of more tails that I need to weave in where I joined the new ball of yarn as I was working. So I'm going to go ahead and just weave the rest of the ends. Okay, so I went ahead and wove in all my ends, and the Heathered Eyelets Wrap is complete. It looks really beautiful. It's ready to wear or give as a gift. And that's it. That's all you have to do to create this project. So thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Fiberflex video updates. Thanks again.